comrades, and welcome back to Ushanka Show. Здравствуйте, товарищи. Today's video is a story time from my American father-in-law, Gary. 45 years ago, back in 1974, on the streets of Washington, D.C., he met a very interesting Soviet person. So here his story.
Hi everybody, this is Sergey. This is a channel Drugaya America, and this is my father-in-law, Gary Earhart, and he has an interesting story about a person he met a long time ago in Washington, D.C., United States.
Yeah, it was the summer of 1974, and our daughter, married to Sergey now, was 7 years old, and we went to visit friends in Washington, D.C. And it was a Sunday morning, and we were riding around when there wasn't a lot of traffic, and they were showing us all the embassies and all around Washington, D.C., but it was pretty desolate early in the morning, and I happened to be close to the Russian embassy when I saw a man walking down the road that we passed, and I said, "There's Brezhnev," with the big eyebrows, and just, I knew it was him. To me, it was him from all the pictures I'd seen. And I told my family, I said, I'm going to try to get into the Russian embassy, but I didn't know if I could or not. And as I crossed the street, I crossed and came next to this man. He didn't introduce himself as anything, but I mentioned I wanted to get in the Russian embassy, and he said something. I don't recall what he said and if it was in English or Russian, but we walked up to the embassy, and he reached around the corner behind the trellis and pushed some buttons, and the door opened up, and we went right into the Russian embassy. And he spoke a few words in Russian to a couple of fellows there that looked like they were in their late 20s, early 30s. And he stood around for a minute, and they spoke good English. And they were there at the embassy doing their thing. And there was a lot of little propaganda about Russia, and sitting there, and they gave me a couple of magazines, and they let me ask them several questions about Russia. I never thought I would get in there, but I was able to. And this man, who I'm sure was Brezhnev, stood there just a couple of minutes, and then he walked into another room, and that's the last time I saw him. But it was quite an experience during the Cold War. And it was, I believe, when she was 7, it would be 1974.
So how long do you think you've been in the embassy? Like 20 minutes?
Yeah, I was in the embassy about probably 30 minutes talking to these guys. It was quite a while. In fact, my wife and the other couple and all the kids kept going around the block thinking, uh-oh, I'm kidnapped. I will never come back out, because it was during the Cold War. Yeah, they were worried about me. But the fellows were nice, and they let me out after speaking and learning a lot about Russian-American relationship on their part. And, yeah, they were worried. They thought, man, they may never see me again, or I'd be shipped off to Russia. But that's all there was the 3 people, the 2 younger fellas, and they spoke good English along with Russian.
Was Brezhnev, could he speak any English? Do you remember?
It sounded like he said some, the way I can remember, a little broken English, like he understood I wanted to go in the embassy, and he said he would take me there.
It looks like he was on the walk, just walking down the street.
Yeah, he was just walking down the street with dark clothes on.
Of course.
And it seemed to me, but it was summertime, so I don't think he would have a heavy outfit on. But it just typically Russian look for us back in those eras. It was quite. We walked about a half block actually before we got to the embassy, and I wasn't sure who he was at the time. And when he went and let me in and opened the door, we both went in, and I knew. To me, it was him. I don't know who else would look like that. Sergey sure doesn't.
So that was the moment when you realized you want to have a Russian son-in-law for your daughter?
Oh my goodness. Back then we thought every Russian wanted to shoot us in the back, and we wanted to shoot every Russian in the back. In fact, the first 6 months when Sergei came here as a former communist, I didn't dare turn my back on him because I thought he would shoot me or kill me or something. But he hasn't yet, and it's been 15 years or so.
16 now, yeah.
16.
All right, so this is the story of my father-in-law about his experience meeting a guy who he is positive was Leonid Brezhnev in 1974. Nobody knows for sure, but that's what it looks like, that Cheryl was in the 3rd grade in school. So quite interesting. Who has some information? I would like to see your comments. Who can Google and check it out? Was it for real Brezhnev visiting maybe America at that time? That'll be great to add to this story. So thank you very much for your attention, and thank you very much to my father-in-law, Gary Earhart, for this wonderful interview.
Well, I hope you enjoy this story. I did some fact-checking because it's quite doubtful that anybody would let Leonid Brezhnev just walk on the streets of Washington, D.C. in the early morning in 70s. It seems as there's a quiet possibility that my father-in-law met Anatoly Dobrynin, who was an Soviet ambassador to the United States for more than 2 decades, from 1962 to 1986. So 1974, he was right there in the USA. But still, it's quite an amazing story, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. So we'll talk to you soon. До свидания. Goodbye. Hey, by the way, the cool merch for cool comrades is available at the Ushanka store at teespring.com. And if you love my channel and would like to show your support, please click on the link below this video and become the patron of the Ushanka Show. For as little as $1, you can help us grow and create the new, interesting videos about the life in Soviet Union.